Hey YouTube viewers, this is an idea I've been thinking about for a little while, and I'd like to submit it for your feedback, get some comments, see what you think about this. The concept is civilization oscillator, and I've always been interested in oscillating systems, mechanical oscillators like the pendulum, electrical oscillators like a resonant circuit or Tesla coil. Biology oscillates in the sense that it stores energy during the summer through the winter, and then uses that energy to regenerate plants during the spring, so the cycle starts again. And I was thinking about civilizations. I have here a picture of an artist's rendering of what Babylon may have looked like, and this is the site of Babylon today. So there's a sort of before-after picture. The civilization oscillator topic that I want to talk about was really inspired by a video I saw by M. King Hubbert. He's a petroleum geoscientist, and he had some theories about the world's supply of fossil fuels and what would happen to them when we ran out. So this is an interesting graph, and I'm going to include a link to a presentation by M. King Hubbert where he explains this in his own words. But he took a perspective of a 10,000 year time span, so negative 5,000 years ago, early recorded human history, to 5,000 years in the future, and he came to a realization in his analysis that the age of fossil fuels is really a brief epoch that will last somewhere around 200 to 500 years, and he described it as the most disruptive thing that ever happened to human civilization. And I tend to agree with him, and you can watch this presentation if you're curious about it. But really a profound idea, because it is fossil fuels that have created our modern technological society. And what he had hypothesized was that somehow we would make a transition to a nuclear power or sustainable power society somewhere in the early half of the 21st century. If this doesn't happen, if we don't succeed in transitioning to some sort of nuclear / sustainable energy world, then I was thinking about what would the consequences be, and what the future might be like. So here, this is my graphic, sort of thinking about M. King Hubbert's peak fossil fuel phenomenon. And I went back and I kind of looked at some of the interesting large-scale engineering projects that happened in previous human history. And as long ago as 3500 BC, there was mound builders in what is the United States today, and these people were consuming agricultural products. They had a large civilization that was able to expend energy on building large mounds. This sort of falls away after some time, and I used an estimation of sort of 500-year build cycles where energy is expended in human civilizations and building epic engineering projects, and then there's a roughly estimated 1500-year span of time where solar energy is just being accumulated in the biomass and building up, so that in another cycle will eventually take place where humans are able to capture this bioenergy stored in the forms of animals and plant life, rebuild large civilizations. And after a rough 1500-year period, you see the resurgence of mound builders in the North America, and pyramid builders in in Africa, Middle East, and those civilizations collapse. Another 1500 year approximate time period passes, and you see the rise of large pyramids in Central America, and you also see Roman empires building in Europe and large construction projects in around the Mediterranean, Middle East, and then that sort of collapses. And on this most recent cycle, we've discovered the ability to use fossil fuels, and this is the most disruptive epoch of energy use that we've seen as a species. And I'm wondering, if we don't make a transition to some sort of sustainable energy source, what will come after it? What will be the next cycle in another 1500 year time frame? And even thinking longer term, let's say we don't make the transition, will there be other ages of fossil fuels that would allow for an advanced civilization like the one we currently live in? What we have on the y-axis is the energy consumed by human civilization, and on the x-axis we have time scales that are very large and start at 4,500 million years ago, with the Earth's accretion from the stardust and asteroids that were floating around in an early stage of our solar system. And we zoom forward to 2,000 million years ago, where we see the evidence of the first multicellular life forms. And going further down the x-axis, we get to 300 million years ago, and that's when the first Carboniferous period happened. So it was the first Carboniferous period. It put down the carbon that would later become the fossil fuels we use today. And so hypothetically, if we use all the fossil fuels and we put all the carbon back out into the atmosphere, and we don't transition to another form of energy, we could have our civilization disappear. We would be waiting for another 300 million years to elapse before the plant life and biomaterials and geologic processes could happen to form another usable quantity of fossil fuels. So my hypothesis for a civilization oscillator is that we would have another chance at an industrial civilization, predicated on the use of fossil fuels, in another 300 million years from now. And we would have multiple chances. Hypothetically, we could have another Carboniferous period every 300 million years that would lay down the fossil fuels needed to restart society, and we could continue this for no more than 5 ages of fossil fuel. Once you get to about 2,000 million years into the future, the sun starts to exhaust its hydrogen fuel supply and starts to burn helium. The sun's runaway fusion processes start to overheat and destroy the Earth. So that's the idea I was working on regarding the civilization oscillator. Given geologic timescales, we may have the ability for multiple Carboniferous periods to deposit fossil fuels into the future, and we may have a chance at no more than 5 ages of fossil fuels. So let me know what you think. That's an idea I was playing around with. Do you think humans will be around for any of these future fossil fuel ages? Do you think other species will evolve into intelligent life forms that know how to utilize fossil fuel? All these are kind of fun ideas to play around with. So yeah, leave a comment and let me know what you think.